lay your love on us. Although I don't feel like you have any more love to give Ten Hag. There he is. His results against the top 9 now. Sicho, you want to take us through them?
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible, really, isn't it? When you think of some of the teams in that top 9, I think United should be winning them. Brentford, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Brighton. You are Manchester United. It's okay if Man City at the moment, Liverpool are beating you in some of those games, but the scoreline or the margins of it also isn't pleasing to see. And if you're a Man United fan or anybody associated with a club, these are the games you want to boast about. These are the games you want to see your team. You know, the exciting thing about what club brought to Liverpool in the cup was the fact that he could go toe-to-toe with Man City. And there were seasons where he wasn't going to win it. And Liverpool fans were not complaining because they knew the players and the team gave everything. But when you watch Manchester United, you don't see the progress. Last season, Ten Hag did a good job, I think, because on the back of what Ole was doing and Ten Hag getting the job after Rangnick took over as the interim, what he did was to get United back to Champions League, win them the Carabao Cup, playing the FA Cup final, could have gone anywhere. So you're looking at him and thinking that if he gets a second season, there's going to be progress. Because last season was managing games, get over the line, just win. Take it as a Champions League, the Carabao Cup, try and win it. But this season was supposed to be the season where you're going to see Erik ten Hag's, work on the team. You're going to see his embodiment of what his philosophy is around the team. And when you also look at the fact that Erik ten Hag has signed enough players to get that system that he wants to play going on, it's not happening. That makes it even more disappointing because, and the very day I heard this interview when he said, Man United were never going to play like the Ajax team, I got a bit worried for Man United and Man United fans because one of the reasons why Man United fans were happy that they got Erik ten Hag was that they now have a manager who can play a matchup with City. They'll go into games, the team will keep the ball like City, the team can pass the ball, they can play brilliant football. Otherwise, then, why were the fans complaining about Jose and Ole? Exactly. Really, because Erik ten Hag's job at Ajax is the reason why he was rated that high. He comes to Man United and says he can't play like the way he played at Ajax. How did he get the job on the back of that performance? But now let's talk about what he's doing this season and briefly because everybody can see it. Now, the problem in Man United is it looks like a team that is not being coached because they look completely disjointed. You're not too sure how the team wants to press and what the team's midfield is supposed to do and why the manager is making choices that he's making. And a clear example is the game against Newcastle. I completely understand the principle of having a left-footed player playing as a left-sided centre-back. It gives you an incredible balance. In fact, it's the more reason why these days left-footed centre-backs have become like jewels, right? And they are very expensive because it gives you the balance that if you play a right-footer there, it doesn't give you. However, if you're a manager and you've got Lindelof, you've got Varane on your bench, and you play your best left-back. Yeah, and you play your best left-back as the left-sided centre-back. And to make it worse, you play your worst right-back in Dalo as the left-back in the game. Then it defeats the purpose of the balance that the left-sided centre-back gives you because if the left centre-back allows the ball from the pass to roll across his body to his left, he's still going to, one of the first options that he's got is to send the ball to the left back. The left back you are playing, the player playing as a left back is a right footer in Dalo. Yeah. What is Dalo going to do? Dalo is going to do what you didn't want your centre-back, who is a right footer, to do. Because you cut into midfield.
So negate what you want to do.
Plus one, minus one is what Erik ten Hag did there. Yeah. So you're asking, why are you not going to play Luke Shaw there, who's a better progressor of the ball in that side to drive United forward?
It's actually better defensively too.
Better defensively.
In such an atmosphere, St. James's Park.
And Dalo himself, Dalo's primary role is the right back.
Yeah.
And even in that position,
exactly. He's more of an attacking type, but defensively he's terrible.
He's not a good right back.
Yeah. He's a decent, pretty decent right back.
Ask Liqueta to go and play that because he's a good defender.
Exactly.
When you've got a player who can defend well, Trippier, to go and play in that role as an emergency left back, because he's a good defender, you can trust him to get the job done.
Exactly.
But when you've got a player who can't defend to go and do that job, it's a problem. And now here's the thing about United. to end up, you come across, the issues are many. But to cap it off, when you've got a team that is not coordinated in pressing, there's no point in pressing high. Pressing doesn't necessarily mean you start pressing your opponent's box. Yeah. You can press mid-block, you can actually sit deeper and initiate your press when the ball gets into your half. When you watch Man United, when the front players or the front line are pressing, normally Højlund, in the other game, Martial, not so much of a press, Rashford and Garnacho. When the front line are pressing, the midfield doesn't back up the press. But the essence of the press is that when the front men initiate the press, the midfield needs to back it up. Yeah. And when that midfield backs it up, the back line needs to back the midfield up. And that is why the team has to squeeze high up the pitch. So when you watch Bayern Munich, Barcelona, City, and you see their centre-backs on the halfway line, it's not for the fun of it. It's simply because the midfield has backed up the press of the front line, and the back line is backing up the press of the midfield. So that when the ball goes through the first line of the press from the front line, the midfielders are there to exert the pressure. And when it bypasses them, the centre-backs are there to exert the pressure. So when you brought in Onana, who is a sweeper goalkeeper, his job then is to back up the centre-back's press because he will get out of his box and be comfortable to claim it. And I think one of the reasons why Arteta has brought in Raya more comfortable to do that. Now, when you watch Man United, when the front line have done the press, the midfield is not backing it up. The reasons could be two. It is coaching, so it's not coordinated. Or because the back line don't have pace. In recent weeks, it's played John Evans, Maguire, and Lindelof. The midfielders are not sure that if they back it up, and that back line as well is scared that if we sort of back it up, the ball in behind them, they can chase it. So when United initiate the press, midfield is not backing it up. So there's space between midfield and Man United's front line. Easy to play through. Once they get through the first line, there is space between
because they are so deep.
Because they are so deep.
And you notice that a lot of the teams within 5 moves,
they are in the United's box. And when you watch them against Galatasaray Copenhagen, it's the same thing. So the question is, how are we in Ghana watching screens and not at the stadium, not training with the players, and we see these things? And how is the coach not fixing them when he trains about twice a day with these players? It's got to be coaching. And for me, the aptitude of players, application of it, the coaching and its method, he makes substitution, doesn't change the feel of the game, like in the game against Newcastle. And he says that the fixtures having been played in the last 3 days, after every 3 days, maybe it's taking a toll on them. Guess what? They play against a Newcastle team that has fielded the same 11 in the last 3 games and can't even make substitutions. Erik ten Hag, I think, is out of his depth.